Hello. My name is Mallory K. Nelson. My pronouns are any all. Visually, I am middle-aged, femme-presenting, and white. I have shoulder-length hair, speckled with gray, green glasses, blue eyes, and a green polka dot blouse. I am sitting in a red power wheelchair, and I only have one leg, the left one, left over. Yesterday, many of us celebrated Independence Day. Friends and family gathered to watch fireworks and reflect on this country's ideals, namely, the founding principles of liberty, equality, and freedom. Today, I find myself thinking about a different anniversary. July is Disability Pride Month. A month celebrating culture, community, and wisdom, commemorating the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act in July 26, 1990. The ADA is one of the most significant civil rights laws in U.S. history. The law outlines federal guidelines to promote equality and anti-discrimination for disabled people. The ADA affirms that what should have always been obvious: disabled people have the right to participate fully in public life. I am disabled. I identify as disabled with a capital D. I have been disabled my whole life. I was born before the Americans with Disabilities Act. The ADA is not a result of lawmakers suddenly feeling goodwill towards disabled people. Instead, the law is a result of decades of organizing, advocacy, and poker games. Disabled people continue to organize against ableist exclusion from school, workplaces, transportation, housing, and community life. One of the most famous images documenting this prior to the signing of the ADA was the Capitol Crawl, a protest by disabled activists who gruelingly crawled up the stairs of the US Capitol, leaving behind their wheelchairs, crutches, and other mobility devices. The event was a powerful demonstration of the barriers disabled people continue to face daily. 36 years later, Disability Pride Month gives us an opportunity to celebrate those victories. But it also invites us to ask some difficult questions. When we speak about liberty and justice for all, who is included in that promise? How much freedom do disabled people actually experience today? And who's responsible for making that freedom a reality? One of the most frustrating accessibility battles I have fought in recent years involved the bathroom. Not building a new one, not funding a renovation, simply accessing an accessible restroom in my own congregation. The bathroom already exists. The only barrier between me and access was a locked door. I believe this story captures the reality of disability in America better than any policy debate. Most barriers today are not dramatic. They are rarely accompanied by someone announcing that disabled people are unwelcome here. More often, they come from oversight, neglect, or the assumption that accessibility can wait until later. Someone forgets to unlock a door. Someone decides captions are optional. Someone assumes a space is accessible enough. I want to be in spaces where disability is included and in the center, where access is not an afterthought. When I moved to Charlotte, I was looking for community. I found some wonderful people and meaningful connections, but I also found something familiar. Many of the disabled-centered spaces I wanted simply did not exist. Eventually, I stopped looking for one and started building one. Nearly 2 years ago, I founded Crip Space, a disability-centered community here in Charlotte. We gather for coffee and conversation, host a book club, make art together, share resources, and create opportunities for disabled people to connect with one another and create disability joy. I am proud of what Crip Space has become. But I also find myself wondering why disabled people are so often the ones doing the work. Why are we the ones creating the access, organizing the groups, educating the public, and advocating for inclusion? Where are the allies? Where are the people who say they care deeply about justice? Disability is a unique, marginalized identity because anyone can join at any time due to injury, illness, or age. Yet disability continues to be treated as an issue impacting few. Accessibility is seen as a problem for disabled people. Inclusion is framed as an issue that only disabled people should advocate for. Justice is treated as our responsibility. And the reality is that disability affects all of us, whether we recognize it yet or not. If you live long enough, 80% of you will become disabled. A few weeks ago, I attended a support group for the chronically ill and their caregivers. During this meeting, the woman sitting next to me said she would rather be dead than in a wheelchair. I was sitting there in my wheelchair. I do not share this story out of anger. I share it because she voiced a common held belief. We are socialized to believe that death is preferred over disability. We are taught that disability is a tragedy. My life is not a tragedy. It is my life. Disability has added joy to my life. It has connected me to powerful and beautiful communities. I am delivering this reflection from the floor because I cannot access the chancel behind me. That simple spatial difference speaks to the value of disability here. Nobody built those stairs because they disliked disabled people. Nobody sat down and decided that wheelchair users should be excluded from leading worship. The stairs exist simply because no one imagined a wheelchair user leading worship. Active hostility does not drive most barriers. Barriers are erected when disabled people are not included in the conversation or imagination of a community. Instead of wondering how disabled people navigate around these barriers, we should be asking why these barriers exist in the first place. If we truly believe that everyone is welcome here, how would we design this room to reflect that? What would our congregation look like? What would our community look like? What would our country look like? I remain hopeful because I have watched what happens when people decide that access matters. This summer, I will be spending much of August in Connecticut designing costumes for a new musical. When the theater hired me, they did not question whether a disabled designer belonged there. They started asking what barriers needed to be removed so I could do my job. One of the solutions involves building a ramp. Nobody treated my access as a charity or a favor. They correctly assumed that I belong there and changed the environment to support my participation. Will it still take transmobility? Yes, but they are doing their part. To me, that is the heart of the disability rights and inclusion. It is not charity, not pity, not inspiration. Rather, it reflects the simple acknowledgement that disabled people belong everywhere. The expectation that disabled people should be present and included in leadership in our communities, workspaces, schools, and congregations. Accessibility is not special treatment. It is an attempt to create equal ground for everyone who wants to participate. Disabled people fought for the ADA. Disabled people fought for access and transportation. Disabled people fought for captions, curb cuts, ramps, and protections in employment and education. Disabled people continue to fight for housing, healthcare, community, and access. We continue to point out barriers. We continue to request accommodations. We continue to explain why access matters. Why are disabled people still carrying so much of this work ourselves? Disability Pride Month is not a time to pretend disability is easy. It is a month to celebrate and honor wisdom in the disability community, while acknowledging that ableist barriers are structural problems. Disability requires refusing ableist assumptions about the value of humanity of disabled people. If we believe in inclusion, then disability inclusion is our issue. If we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person, then that belief cannot stop before disability. The challenge I want to leave you with today is not simply to care about disabled people. It is to start noticing inaccessibility as a social justice issue. Notice barriers before someone points them out. Notice who is missing from the room. Notice when access is treated as an afterthought. Notice when disabled people are carrying the burden of making a space welcoming, and ask what your role might be in that work. Notice these issues and speak up. We all need to show up and share the labor to build an inclusive and welcoming world. Thank you, and happy Disability Pride Month.